Hi, I'm Addie Banks. Understanding race and ethnic relations begins with understanding human nature. We own and protect what we own, and we want what we want when we want it. This December 26, 2021 BBC article, Fear and Loathing in South Africa, where foreigners live in danger. It is noted that foreigners in South Africa who spoke with photographer Shazar Mohammed told him how they cope with xenophobia and crime. This is in the news, and this is my report. Some African countries are rife with war, poverty, inadequate administration of resources, weather crises, political turmoil, corruption, and mismanagement that prompts those who cannot leave the continent to travel to other African states. But the issues are the same. This article begins, many South Africans escaping violence and poverty come to South Africa in search of a better life. But they often find themselves in danger in their new homeland, accused of taking jobs from South Africans. This is a familiar complaint around the world. There are several pictures of African foreigners, including a supermarket owner who fled Ethiopia in 2010. Suspected of supporting an opposition party. His store is behind a steel cage because in Alexandria, violent thefts are commonplace. He reports, quote, that at any given time, they can pop up, point a gun at you, and rob you of your money. They can also kill you, end quote. He blames xenophobia, which means dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. In 2016, a mob ransacked his shop and he was left with nothing. It happened again in July this year, thus the protective cage. He said, quote, "It happened at night. I was not there. I called the police to alert them, but they did nothing. I lost everything and had to borrow money from my family to restart. But it was not enough, and I ended up buying my supplies on credit," end quote. He has been kidnapped twice in 2016 and 2019 and was only released when a ransom of more than $3,000 was paid each time. He concludes, quote, "Police can't do anything for foreigners here. It's almost as if they don't care about us," end quote. Yet he says life is better here. He still prefers life with these challenges to returning to Ethiopia. Another Ethiopian supermarket owner, a 34-year-old, has lived in Alexandria for 13 years. He considered going back home. He says, quote, "We are unable to get identity documents. As a result, we cannot open bank accounts and have to carry around cash to buy our stock. The thieves are aware of this, which puts us at risk," end quote. He has been victim of anti-foreigner attacks, was beaten up by a mob, and lost all his stock not long after he opened. He said, quote, "I live in fear every day," end quote. A 43-year-old man from the Democratic Republic of Congo who lives in Hillbrow says that he feels lucky to still be alive. Quote, "My best friend was attacked one morning. I believe it was xenophobic violence in 2008. He was stoned to death like a dog," end quote. He continues, imagine someone runs away from his own land and comes here to find peace, but ends up getting killed. Despite his fears, he said he is grateful that he is able to feed his family. His one regret is that he has been unable to make contact with his parents and does not know if they are alive. A woman from Mozambique who runs a hair salon from a pavement on a busy road in Alexandria reported that she is proud that she can support herself and her family in South Africa. But she is at risk daily because robberies are an everyday occurrence. She says the most hurtful thing is that insults from South Africans often hurled at her, using the term kiwi kiwi, a derogatory word for African migrants. She says, quote, this is something that causes me to be sad, end quote. There is a substantial community of Mozambicans in South Africa. One man who has run an upholstery business for the last 10 years says he also is called Kiwi Kiwi, despite being married to a South African woman. He says, quote, all the people living in South Africa look down on people from Mozambique, Zimbabwe, or any other country. Life is not easy, end quote. This article is worth finding for the photographs, comments, and experiences of others featured who came to South Africa choosing to live life among hostile citizens resentful of their presence. The article ends with a 27-year-old Mozambican in South Africa for 10 years. He sells vegetables from a shopping cart illegally because he's not able to get documentation. He says, quote, when you are a foreigner, you don't have an identity document, so you cannot get a good job. But I keep trying because I don't want to get involved in criminal activities, end quote. Like many migrants around the world, he needs to earn money for his mother and daughter back home in Zimbabwe. I asked, why are migrants such a major issue around the world in the 21st century? Seeking a better life away from your homeland as an undocumented foreigner, even in Africa. I don't have the answers, but will continue to report about their fates and the fates of citizens they impose upon in my attempt to educate about everybody's pain. What I do know is that running away drains nations of their brightest and best. Sending home remittances is not working on the ground, building the homeland. Leadership and respect of sovereignty, alongside support of real ownership of national resources for citizens and not foreign investors, may be key to fixing some of this. Marcus Garvey said, any leadership that teaches you to depend on another race, and I add another country, is leadership that will enslave you. I say that any homeland other than your own is not an advocate for you or your people. This is what needs to be fixed.